Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anna. Welcome to my June reading wrap up. So June is over, which is crazy to me because it literally flew by. I know everyone says this all the time, but June genuinely it flew by. What the heck? How's it already July? Next thing you know, July is gonna fly by, and then August, and then September. What is going on? Summer has officially started, so that means I had a lot of time to read and a lot of summer books to read. So we're gonna be getting into that. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, let's just get started with this video. I wanna sit comfortably in this chair, but okay, so let's just get to the statistics of this month. For the month of June, I read 4 romance, 2 mysteries, and 2 fiction, and that all comes to a total of 8 books. So I had a pretty good selection here. I had a lot of good reads. Starting off with the first book I read this month, Daydream by Hannah Grace. I gave this a 3.8 stars, and let me just start off by saying this cover is beautiful. Haley's the main star of the show here. Look at her dress and her cardigan. This book is part of the Maple Hills series. This is my first one. I'm not sure I want to read Icebreaker, but I think there was another one. I forgot what it was called, but it was in a camp setting. So I might read that one because I was interested in it when it first came out. So I might just read that one, who knows. But in this book, we follow the story of these 2 kids. They're not really kids, but they're both in their mid-year of college. Henry is part of the hockey team, and he's a little bit behind in his class. So he needs help to catch up with his class or he's gonna fail, and that's not a good thing for him. And Haley, she's more of an academic weapon. Haley is just the sweetest, kindest person ever. She loves cute things. She's a little bit more introverted. There's a lot of folklore Easter eggs in this, so that was very much appreciated. So anyways, Haley helps Henry with his work that he needs to do to catch up with his class so he doesn't fail. So that's kind of the storyline that we follow throughout the whole book. But in between, we do see them together a lot, and we also see that Henry introduces his friends to Haley. So we see a little bit of a found family friendships in here. And that was really fun because I love found family. That's one of my favorite genres in movies and books and just in general, I guess. Going into this book, I was expecting Henry to be this super popular, and he is popular, but I was expecting him to be loud and, the stereotypical athletic popular dude. But he was actually a little bit more laid back, and I could actually relate to him a lot in this book. So I love Henry, I love Haley. These are both such likable characters. Had a fun time reading it. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was just a fun little cutesy read. There are some good quotes in here though. I do have some tabs. Let me see if I can find one. Henry said, "How else am I supposed to cope without jokes?" That's so real. Oh, also another quote from Henry. He's such a therapist. It says, "Friends are allowed to have different opinions on how to handle things. It doesn't make me not want to talk to you anymore. And even if something did happen, people don't want to be your friend because of me. They like you as you are, all on your own." And he said that when Haley was feeling a bit, people didn't want to be her friend. Haley is a people pleaser, and I was like, girl, me too. I just really enjoyed this book overall. Yeah. Next up on the list, which is a bit exciting for me, so let me have my moment. I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. I gave this book a 4 stars. In this book, we follow the basis of Harriet and Wynne. Harriet and Wynne were a couple, and then they broke up. Years later, they meet up with their friends because they always go to the same house every year for the summer. So they meet up with their friends, but what they don't tell their friends is that they haven't broke up, and their friends still think that they're together, so they're keeping the secret from their friends. And yeah, that's basically the story. Especially in her books, there's always so much more depth than the story, which is why I love Emily Henry, and which is why I think everyone else loves her, because she has so much depth and emotion and realness, and just she stabs you in the heart sometimes. times. So again, love the found family. Any book with found family is an instant point for me because there's just like so much comfort in that. I literally love the summer vibes, especially like in Maine, which is like amazing because I love East Coast summers. Personally, East Coast summers just are the best summers in like America. There was like a little carnival sequence in this. I love a good carnival scene. There's just like something about carnivals in summer that just like sits so well. Does that make any sense? If I got my point across, then it does make sense, but there's just like something about it. Wynn and Harriet, they were made for each other. I love that we got scenes going from their past to present instead of just like telling, because I don't like when a book tells you but doesn't show you. So I really appreciated that she gave us like actual scenes from the past. It makes you connect to the situation so much more. That's part of why I think that they're so made for each other, because we saw that all that they went through, and then after seeing all their obstacles and stuff, we finally got to see that they had a happy ending. The ending, guys, let me see if I can find a quote from the ending. Okay, this is actually the last sentence. It says, "But more often than any of those places, when I had to feel safe and happy, I go home. And no matter the weather, feet of snow or sun bleeding the thirsty fields dry, when I walk up the steps and put my key into the lock, I feel a lift in my chest, a surety. He will be waiting on the other side, still covering in sawdust and smelling like pine. Before I even see him, my heart starts singing its favorite song, you, you, you." I'm levitating off this chair right now. Emily Henry and her endings, man. Her endings always get me. Ugh. It stabs me in the heart, but in a good way. Like, just love this book. I need to reread this next year. The thing with like books with so much depth in it, you can learn something every time you read it. If I were to read this a second time, I'm sure that I would learn something new each time. I think I just like blabbered my entire like brain. I just talked so much. But yeah. Third, I read Norah Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. Monaghan. I need to search it up because that's embarrassing. I rated this book a 4 stars. First, her writing is so good. This was my first book from this author, and I was just in shock by her writing. I was actually watching a Sarah Caroli video before this, and we said the same exact thing about this book. Her writing is such a breath of fresh air. It felt so light. I love the change of scenery from like when I read Happy Place. That was a beachy vibe, and this is more of like a foresty mountain vibes, and I love the mountains so much. If there's something about me, is I love the mountains. I love the beach, but I also love the mountains. So I love that change of scenery. So yeah, basically this book is about Norah and her story and like her as a person. We start off the book by seeing that this crew of like people are coming to her house to film a movie, and that's because she got this idea to film a movie, recreating a movie about the relationship with her and her husband. Ex-husband. Basically, her ex-husband is like the worst man ever. Like, what is it with these like ex-husbands and these books, man? Like, why are they such horrible people? Norah has 2 kids, by the way. I don't know, that's just like something I needed to add in there. And then starring in her movie is an actor from Hollywood, and he's actually a really famous actor. So that's when Leo comes into the story. I love how he was like kind of like a golden retriever, and he was just like following her around in some parts of the story. It kind of gave me like Princess and the Frog vibes. If you guys have ever watched, who hasn't watched that movie? If you haven't watched that movie, go watch it. But when Tiana was teaching Naveen how to mince the mushrooms and stuff, that's the vibe it kind of gave me. There's so much more I feel like that goes into Norah's character. You see a lot of like what she's going through and her thought process throughout the story. I had such a fun time reading this, as well as an emotional time. There was a good amount of emotional depth in this, which was very appreciative. Love this book. On to the next one, which is Nothing Like the Movies, the sequel to Better Than the Movies. I never like thought I was gonna pick this up. When I went to Barnes and I was just browsing, I saw this and I was like, why not? So I was like, what's the harm in reading this? because everyone was saying they didn't like it. And then I went ahead and read it and I liked it. Oh, which also brings up my rating for this book, which was a 4 stars. And that's why I'm telling you now, try the book out for yourself, because they may not like it, but you may like it because you're your own person and you have your own views and opinions and stuff. So anyways, Wes and Liz are now in college, so they both have their own separate lives now, and then they see each other at a party, and from there on we see them coming back to each other like baby steps, you know. It's not like all at once, but it was fun. I enjoyed my time. I really liked Clark, I think his name was, which is Liz's like new best friend. He was so fun. Honestly, he was the highlight of this book. I loved the fall on campus vibes. Even if it's summer, I enjoyed the different season. And yeah, even if I still think it was not needed, I still enjoyed it. So yeah. Alrighty, now I have The Inmate by Frida McFadden. I actually need to look up my rating for this because I forgot. I rated this book a 3 stars. So in this story, we see Brooke. She becomes a maid at this prison. It's like a maximum security prison, so it's kind of dangerous for her to be there, but she needs the job, so we see her medically taking care of the prisoners. And then she soon finds out that she sees her ex at the prison, and he's actually in that prison because of her, because of something that happened in the past. She's also a single mother, and so she needs to take care of her child throughout the book. I enjoyed it. I think it was thrilling. I just think that some parts of this book could have had a little more going on. Some parts of this book was a bit boring, but overall I enjoyed my time. This was a cool book, nothing too crazy. But yeah, that's all I have to say. And then the book that I read next, I actually read on my Kindle, which was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This book was so interesting because I think before I read this one, I haven't really read many mysteries other than Frida McFadden. So this was a little bit of a change in like writing and pasting and just storytelling overall. So I had a good time reading it. Okay, so the story starts off with Daisy and her whole family coming together to celebrate her Nana's birthday party at the house that they basically grew up in. But as they're celebrating Nana's birthday, they find out that someone is missing, and so they go to find out like what is happening, and then they find someone dead. And so every hour someone dies, and it's just like this roller coaster of stuff going on. There's a lot of mysteries and stuff. Most of the book we just saw like stuff from their past, as this family is actually really not a perfect family at all. Daisy, she's actually the weakest one in the family, so we see a lot of like what she went through in the past and like what her and her family have went through in the past, and you know, all the things that they have put her through. It was so interesting seeing that. There's so much stuff that has like gone on in her life, and this author's writing is so good. It really felt like I was watching a movie from like the way her writing is. I think I actually have some quotes in here. I don't know, let me check. Her writing is just so good. I really want to read some of her other books. I've actually been wanting to read Rock, Paper, Scissors for a while now, and when I read this book, I didn't know that they were the same author. But anyways, here's a quote from her book. Families are like fingerprints. No two are the same, and they tend to leave their mark. Here's another quote. Childhood is a race to find out who you really are before you become the person you are going to be. Not everybody wins. All these characters were so complex, including Daisy. It was such like a roller coaster of emotions going on. I very much recommend it as a summer read because it gave me so much summer vibes. Second to last, I read Daisy Jones and the Six. This was so exciting for me because I have been wanting to read this book for a while now. It was a very much anticipated read for me this year. Really glad that I actually finally got to it and like stopped putting it off and just decided to pick it up. In this book, we follow the story. Oh, her name is Daisy too. In this story, we see the coming of age of Daisy, and she's from LA. She grew up with a silver spoon. Her parents were really rich, and so there was a lot going on around her, but no one actually gave her the attention that she needed. She became to be less codependent and went off to do things by herself. And then there's a band from Pittsburgh. Throughout the book, we see that Daisy and this band come together, and they become this huge, famous band that like everyone everyone loves. This book was set in the 70s, so that was really fun because I love me some good 70s music. There's so much like personality in each and every person in this book. As for the writing, the whole book is like written in interview style, which is such a different change in things because we got to see like everyone's point of views and everyone's like thought process. And I believe that the interview style is part of why this book was so interesting. I started watching the show, and tell me why it's actually really good, because you guys know that book show adaptations don't always, meet our expectations and isn't always as good as the book. I started watching the show and it's actually really good. I still need to finish the show, but I'm excited to watch it this summer. So that's that for that book. Ooh, I feel like I just like blabbered so much right now. Now, last but certainly not least, The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. I've been sitting on my leg and it's like numb now. It feels like there's a bajillion little like ants crawling. Okay, that's such a weird description. Let me not say that. That's so weird. All right, last and final book that I read for this month, and my rating for this book was a 4 stars. I really liked it. Most of the books that I read this month were 4 stars and just like overall really enjoyable books. So good for me, I guess. I believe that The Hotel Nantucket is like a interconnected series with this author. She makes a lot of books based off of this hotel. I definitely want to read her other books so I can see like all the characters that I've seen in this one. And also just because like I really enjoyed the book, of course. But yeah, Lisbeth becomes the new manager of this hotel, and the owner of the hotel tells her, look, I need you to make this the best hotel out of all the competitors because I'm trying to impress these 2 women. And she does exactly that. And we just like see her journey as a manager. There's also a little bit of a romance in here. There's a ghost in here. Also, we see the employees' point of views. Going into this book, I was not really sure what to expect because it's a fiction book and I haven't read many fiction books. It's always like romance or fantasy, mystery thriller. Also wanted to talk a little bit about the ghost aspect of this book. So the hotel originally, like something happened to like the ghost. Well, at that point she wasn't a ghost, but something happened to her and then she became a ghost and now she's like haunting this hotel. In the real world, there have been rumors going around that there was a ghost, but no one was really like 100% sure. And so seeing what the ghost, her name is Grace, by the way, seeing Grace's point of view was like so funny because like she was just like this cheeky, mischievous little ghost, like sort of pulling pranks on everyone. It really was just like very wholesome. And yeah, there was so much summer vibes in this. Like it reminded me of Mamma Mia, if you guys have ever watched that movie. If you want a beach read, I would definitely recommend you read this by the pool or like at the beach because it's so summery vibes. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Alrighty guys, that is it for today's video. I had a lot of good reads this month. I'm really proud of myself. There were so many summer reads in here, so all these summer immaculate vibes were happening in June. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. It's this way, in the next one. Bye. 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 I sometimes forget that this is going on the internet for everyone to see. Whatever.